The let's see. Yeah, I think I am just about ready. You are at this point sitting in Uncle Ulf's apartment.
Mm.
He lives. He lives in Dublin, obviously, not on on the outside of city limits. He is actually in Dublin. He lives. Let's just say he is. I'm going to move you guys over to the right map here so you can see. There we go. And he lives down in Dundrum.
Where's that?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Can I just point something out that I just noticed?
Sure.
Rotunda Hospital. That's too funny.
Yeah.
Rotunda.
True. But he lives in Dundrum, very close to a tram station called Ballally, and he's kind of joked as you guys walked from there to his place that this is old Viking territory. This is actually Olaf's city. That's what the name means in Irish, and it's just making casual conversation like that. Until you get to his place and he cooks up something to eat. He says he's got a friend coming over later in the evening. Nothing particularly wild or fancy, just, it's probably someone you're going to like. He says there's not going to be a big issue there. And he goes to the kitchen to make something to eat. And, sorry, I have a bit of a...
Oh, Rasmus said that earlier.
Yeah, I have something in my throat and I've had all day, but at least I can speak now. That's better than it was earlier. So he goes to the kitchen, as I said. He starts cooking. It smells quite nice, actually. One thing you've probably noticed as a temporary tourist in Ireland is that Irish cooking is just as bad as people all over the world believe it is. The only thing these people know how to make, which really tastes nice, is breakfast, and they get pissed if you call it English breakfast. In Ireland, it's Irish breakfast.
I thought you were going to say that the only thing they could make that tastes decent is beer.
Well, true, they do that. They do make good beer and they do make good whiskey, but it doesn't quite count as food. Except, of course, if it's Guinness, that's a whole meal. But he's cooking up a chicken dinner from the smell of it, and it does really smell like you would expect a Dane to cook a chicken. It smells like food and not like some kind of shapeless amorphous grey mass of meat and potatoes. And he brings the food in after he's done, sits down, and just basically makes small talk, and starts to catch up with you, and as the evening progresses, he keeps checking his watch, and it's like where the hell his friend is what's keeping this friend of his, and as it gets its early spring, after all, like it has been for all the others, it's early spring 2000 or late winter, more like it, 2013.
Yeah.
And as he checks his clock the last time, there's a knock on his door. It's about 10:30 in the evening. It is getting pretty late, and he does look a little annoyed that it's taken this long. And he walks over to the door. He opens it, and as he unlocks it, as he unlocks it, somebody kicks the door down, which sends him tumbling backwards into the room, head over heels, more or less. Apparently, whoever kicked is physically quite powerful.
Well, I get up and run to see what's going on. Maybe check on my uncle first.
Yeah. He, as I said, stumbles backwards, falls on his ass in the living room. 2 men and 2 women enter the room. And one of the women, they look unhealthy, to put it mildly. One of the women grins very widely as she looks down on him and says, "Oh, oh, what have we here? Oh my goodness, you're going to be incredibly tasty, aren't you? Ah, you have some wolf in you, don't you? I guess I guess that's what my sister is going to be doing down here." And then as you look, her fangs begin to extend.
What's going on? Who are you?
She looks at you while her fangs keep extending, and it's pretty, what the hell? It's literally like her teeth are growing as you're looking at them. This is, "Don't worry, I'll get to you in a moment." Oh my, oh my, you really are. Oh, maybe I should start with you instead. You're going to be so much more fun. And she walks towards you with this, while she cracks her knuckles, she says something in Irish to the other woman and the 2 men, who then proceed to grab a hold of your uncle and hold him down. And she walks towards you with this swagger, this like she's very, very sure of herself. She's in complete control of the situation. She's got a very unhealthy pallor to her. She looks very, very pale. And as I said, the fangs have been extended. And as you look at her, her eyes just, there's real evil in her eyes. Sometimes you can just look at someone and just tell that this is a very, very bad person, and that's what you're looking at. There's no question that if she does lay a hand on you, she's going to hurt you very, very badly. And there isn't really much room for you to run anywhere. So what do you do?
Okay, so there's no room for me to run anywhere, and this freaky evil woman with strange growing teeth is coming towards me.
Yes.
I tried to get around her.
Yeah. So you're trying to get to the door, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. She, you try to move around her, and she just kind of playfully jumps in the way. A few times you move left and right, and she keeps getting in the way with this sort of smirk on her face. And you can hear your uncle roaring and raging on the ground or on the floor. He is none too pleased by being held down by the others. And you hear him shout to this woman, that "Your sister is going to have your head for this." And just as he says that, the woman actually turns her head for a split second, looks at him and says, "She's got to catch me first. She hasn't managed yet, has she?" And that's pretty much your chance to get around her, because for a moment she isn't looking at you.
Mm.
So you do get around her. You do get to the door, and you can hear her laugh. Do.
So you want to stop for a second?
Yeah.
I heard you can hear her laugh, and then your sound cut out. I don't know if
sorry.
it's your connection or my connection, but something failed.
Okay. You can hear her laugh, and she says, "Oh yes, it's going to be so much more fun if you run. Please do. I'm going to enjoy the chase." And I'm assuming you're bolting out the door?
Yeah.
Yeah. As you do that, you see another woman coming up the hallway towards you. She has a very angry look on her face. She does look slightly like the woman behind you. What do you do?
Okay, so out of character, Wait, this is a really fucking quick-witted character, actually. So she might be able to piece together right now. This is probably the sister that's going to be so fucking pissed.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm going to get behind her, but yeah, and like we're at the stairs, right?
Yeah.
So at least down to the next mid floor between. Just stay kind of close, but kind of far, and see what's going to happen.
Yeah, but do you say anything to the woman as you pass by her?
No.
Okay, then she reaches out because she has no idea what's going on behind you. So she reaches out with an arm to stop you. Like, where are you going, lass? I'm here to talk to you.
I'm going away. Some freaks are attacking my uncle.
What?
I can know her teeth grew.
And you say that, and you're not quite sure what happens next. What you do remember is afterwards is the sound of bones shattering and muscles tearing and a very, very, very loud growl. And then everything kind of blanks out for you. Everything goes black. You can't remember a damn thing. Until hours later, apparently. It's pitch black. The moon is high in the sky. Well, the moon would be if it wasn't for a new moon. So, yeah, it's pitch black out when you wake up, and you are clearly not in Dublin anymore.
Okay.
You are in a place with a stream running next to you, a small brook running next to you. It has a pleasant enough kind of sound. Trees everywhere as well. So you're like in a... You're definitely not inside Dublin city limits. You have no doubt about that. There's no city lights to be seen, for example.
Yeah.
You're buck naked, by the way.
Oh, great. What am I standing, lying, sitting?
You are lying on your side next to the stream.
Okay, so Fenna sits up and looks around, and then when she realizes she's naked, she's probably going to just reflexively cover herself.
Yeah, which means that as she does that, you realize that you're very, very sticky.
Okay, look down.
You look down, your hands, I mean, it's a new moon, so it's very, very hard for you to see anything, but your hands, your arms, your chest is covered in something. Everything's covered.
Okay, so it's right next to a stream, so get some water and wash it off. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Well, as you wash yourself, you get a little bit of it on your lips and you can taste it. It's got that distinct taste of blood.
This is freaky.
But you do wash yourself off.
Yeah, I think more vigorously after finding that out.
Yeah. You wash yourself off, and as you look up after having done that, opposite from you on a rock on the other side of the stream, you spot a wolf looking at you. This isn't a dog. There's no way that's a dog.
Okay, so I observe the wolf.
It curls its lips back and snarls at you, but it doesn't actually attack you.
I back off a little.
Just a little. Yeah.
Maybe a little more than a little.
Yeah.
It's showing hostility.
Yes.
But carefully backing away. No running.
No running and no turning around, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wolf stops snarling as you move away a little bit. And in all the mysterious weirdness of the night, the wolf then makes a strange movement with its head and then speaks to you and says, I thought it was bad enough that we had 2 Scandinavian arseholes in Dublin. And now you're telling me there's a 3rd? Feck this.
Fenna just stares super confused at the wolf. Like, this is a dream. This is not real. What is going on? She doesn't say anything. She's just confused.
The wolf jumps off the rock towards you, and mid-leap, it changes into the woman you bumped into on the stairs and lands right in front of you. She doesn't look particularly happy.
What is going on?
Your uncle told me to come and talk to you. He said you might be interesting. I had no feckin' idea you'd be one of us.
What?
Lass, you just killed 2 leeches.
What? No.
Where do you think all the feckin' blood is from?
I don't know.
It was pretty impressive.
I can't have killed a person.
Strictly speaking, they stopped being persons the moment they died. Which they did a long time before you tore their heads off. You noticed the whole thing with the fangs and shite? Your uncle told me about... Yeah. What do you think? Think movies, lass. What do you think's got long fangs and shite?
Vampires?
You win a cookie. Or in your case, a dog biscuit.
But vampires aren't real.
Right, and you just spoke to a wolf, lass. You're one of us. I just saw you running around. You have any idea how much trouble I'm going to have trying to clean up for this? All right, it's not far from Dundrum to the Wicklow Mountains, but I think about 50 people saw you. And when you're 8 or 9 foot tall and covered in fur, it's kind of hard to miss you.
She's just staring at this point.
Oh, feck. Your uncle didn't tell you anything?
No, I haven't seen him for years. I only just met him today.
Oh, God. Brilliant. All right. Here's the bottom line. I'm a werewolf. So are you.
Okay, I'll play along until I wake up, okay?
You're very awake. You're very awake, lass.
I'm not convinced, but I'll play along.
What would convince you? Do I need to punch you to make you realize you're still awake? I'd be happy to do so because, quite frankly, if I get a chance to punch a Scandinavian fecker in the face, I'll be quite happy about it.
I pinched myself in a dream once and it actually hurt. Then I woke up and realized it was actually a dream.
Go ahead, pinch yourself all you want.
What's the point? I just said that it hurt even in a dream.
Ah, and it didn't wake you up. Sorry, I misunderstood you. All right, listen up. Your uncle is fine, by the way. He survived. Large part thanks to you. My sister escaped. Again, she tends to do that. Bitch that she is. One of the remaining 3 I killed. But you took out 2 of them. That's pretty impressive, especially considering you clearly had no idea who you are and what you just did, which makes me believe this is the first time you've changed.
Yes.
At least you're not discounting the idea that you did change. I appreciate that.
I said I'd play along.
Fair enough. She actually grins a little crookedly. You said you hadn't met your uncle for 10 years, or how long was it?
5 years.
5 years. All right, fine. What's the... why did you meet him now? He's Danish. He can't help that. It's not his fault. But I'm assuming that means you're Danish and you got a bit of an accent.
Yeah, I'm here with my family and I just bumped into him.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, you just bumped into your uncle you haven't seen in 5 years. You never stop to wonder.
He lives in town.
Yeah, Dublin has 530,000 people living in it, give or take. Chances of just bumping into him aren't that amazing. You know, he's probably been looking for you.
Why would he?
Because you're one of us and he knew.
How does he know? Is he a werewolf too?
No, but he's family.
Also...
He's kin.
This is kind of awkward, being naked and all.
Right. Fair. She takes off. She's wearing a leather long coat. She takes it off and hands it to you.
I take it.
Yeah. At least that should take care of the worst of the cold.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can't believe I just said that to get.
What is your problem?
You really have no idea what this means. This is so awkward.
No, what is your problem with things?
We have 2 Scandinavian werewolves in city, and let's just say I don't get along with them. Anyway, my name is Siobhan. I'm one of the local werewolves. We have a number of us in Dublin. And I think that's what your uncle wanted to talk to me about. He wanted me to take a look at you and make sure that he was right. He did say he had someone very interesting for me to meet. I was a bit surprised that he called me, but he did.
Okay.
And here we are. And just as she says that, you can hear something. There's like a movement to your right, not too far away.
I look to my right.
So does she. You see another woman approaching, who looks a little bit. She's not. She doesn't have the same sort of features as Siobhan does. Siobhan is quite dark in appearance, whereas this woman is tall, blonde, and more muscular than most women you've seen. She stops about 5 meters away, folds her arms over her chest, and says, "You can piss off, Siobhan. This one is mine." And Siobhan looks back at her and she just narrows her eyes. You see, that's one of the 2 I talked about.
Okay.
So you're going to raise this one to be just as big an arsehole as you and Eric, is that it? The other woman just shrugs and says, "I think this one, as you call her, is quite clearly capable of making her own choices. What I am going to do is teach her. Now piss off, Poppy. There's a very tense moment, the stare down. And Siobhan looks back to you, and then she looks to the other woman and say, "Are you pulling rank on me?" And the other woman just nods and says, "If that's what I have to do, then yes, that's what I'm doing. Leave." Siobhan cracks her knuckles, looks at you, looks at the other woman, looks back to you and says, "I'll be seeing you around." And then she starts walking away. And the other woman waits until she's left. And then she reaches into her, in under her jacket, and she pulls out a t-shirt and a pair of shorts, and she says, "Here, your uncle told me you might need these."
Thank you.
Since we have, out of character here, since we have Chris on the line, I'm going to continue this in English, but she actually switches to Danish.
Okay.
She says, "My name is Katrine. I'm a long-standing acquaintance of your uncle's. I wouldn't say he and I are the best of friends, but we are certainly acquainted. I am sorry that Siobhan found you before I did. I think that was a chance encounter more than anything."
So, like, my first impression, she says that, well, my impression from her is that she thinks you're a bitch, but she's kind of the stuck-up one.
Yeah, she's... I wouldn't say she's stuck up so much as she's very hateful.
Yeah.
She doesn't like me. I don't like her. It's entirely mutual. She just tends to get a little more violent about it than I do. I don't need to get violent about it. I've got allies. However, this is a bit of a mess. You've done very, very well for this being your first night. Fenna, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've done very, very well. You killed 2 pretty useless vampires. That's pretty good going. And in doing so, I think you saved your uncle's life, by the way, so good on you. The bigger problem is that you ran from your uncle's house to the Wicklow Mountains, and a lot of people saw you. That's not good.
Sounds bad.
It is. I mean, if I told you yesterday, if you'd met me on the street yesterday, I'd stopped you and I'd said, "Hello there, did you realize that werewolves are real?" You would have probably thought I was mad.
I'm still not convinced this isn't a dream. It's a weird dream.
Very weird dream by now, isn't it?
Strangely real.
Yeah, very. Believe me, you've got a lot to learn. This is first step into a much, much, much bigger and much, much, much more dangerous world than what you've seen before. You must have 100 questions, and I'm sure you don't even know what half of them are yet.
So, werewolves?
Werewolves. And vampires. After all, you killed 2 of them. And a few other things.
Other things?
Oh, we'll get to all the other things as time progresses, I promise you. However, she says, "Why are you in Ireland?"
Family trip.
Oh, family vacation. All right. Well, fair enough. It's not exactly as if we see many of yours and my kind here.
Wait, can I even go back to my family? Like, if I'm a werewolf?
I wouldn't recommend it not unless, well, considering that you don't know anything about this and that you don't know who or what you are or didn't know what you were until tonight, I'm guessing that your parents never told you about it, which tells me that they aren't kin. Which means if you go back to them now, they're probably going to flip out and run away from you, which is going to be problematic. I wouldn't go back if I were you. If I'd go anywhere, I'd go to your uncle's. He's all right. He's in one piece. And he can handle it.
They'll be... I mean, okay. So, Ulf told them that I would be with him for a while.
Yeah.
Like, just until tomorrow, but then after that, if I don't return, then they're going to be looking for me.
Yeah, they probably will. And we're probably going to have to figure out a way of...
Can't I... Wait, okay,
Strictly
so
speaking, you could...
this turning thing is not voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
But what if I can somehow not turn in front of them? Wouldn't that be...
That would, first and foremost, she says that would require training, practice, which you don't have yet, which takes a long time to learn. Secondly, she says, looks up at the new moon, which, well, because there is no moon up, she grins a little and says, well, at least you're Otagar. That's always something. You're going to be a bit less angry than many of the rest of us. The problem is that werewolves scare people even if they don't know that we are what we are. Normal people are very frightened of us. We feel like predators to them, which, of course, is what we are. Not that we eat people, we don't.
I think this is the point when Fenna, like, follows Katrina's gaze up at the new moon.
Yep.
And, connects the moon phase with the werewolf thing and goes, wait, aren't werewolves supposed to change at the full moon?
Oh, that's what Hollywood would have you believe, she says and grins. We change at all phases of the moon, believe me. This phase of the moon is yours. And the ones who change at the full moon, we've got a few of them, including a Swede in town. And when she says Swede, she manages to say Swede more or less in the same tone of voice as other people say cockroach.
Well, that's normal.
Yeah, exactly. So she says the ones who are born under a full moon are a little hard to handle from time to time. Oh my goodness, we have a lot to talk about. First and foremost, we should get back to Dublin. This is maybe a safe place or a safer place than many others. But I think at least your uncle would like to know that you're all right.
I'd like to see him too, I think.
Let's get going then, she says, and smiles, and then you can see she's just about to move, and then she grins crookedly and looks at you and goes, yeah, that's right, of course. I'll have to explain this to you. All right, could you close your eyes for a second?
Oh, Fenna has just this pause where she's like, I'm not sure I trust you enough to close my eyes.
She holds up her hands in a disarming gesture and says, I'm not here to hurt you.
All right, I am playing along.
Definitely.
She closes her eyes.
I do appreciate it, she says in a sort of amused tone of voice. That's all right. Now imagine running as fast as you can across this landscape around here. Just as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine doing that on all fours.
Mm.
And as you do that, you can feel something changing. You literally stand there feeling like you can't keep your balance. You're falling down on all fours as you do that.
Okay.
Very nice. You did that quite well, she says, and then grins again. I don't know if you open your eyes and look at her.
I think during the whole falling forwards
Yeah.
process.
You do that, and you realize not only are you looking up at her, but you're looking up at her across a canine nose. And she's in black and white. But you can see her a lot more clearly than you could before.
Stumbling backwards.
Careful, backing up when you've got 4 legs isn't as easy as when you've got 2, she grins.
Okay, I know I should have expected this, but...
Ow, 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 ow.
Okay.
Yes. She smiles, and you can see her focusing for a second and gritting her teeth, and then she folds in on herself and ends up standing in front of you as a wolf, a grey wolf. And she nods and does a toss of her head as if to tell you to follow, and then she starts running.
I follow.
Yes. And she does take you to the area called Sandyford, which is down here. Very few people are out and about during nighttime in Sandyford. It's an industrial estate area, so very few people actually move around there. So she moves in in between the buildings, still being in wolf shape, and has you follow along, presumably, unless you're trying to get away. But eventually, she, even without even thinking about it, while she's still walking, she changes back up into human form, and she looks down at you and says, "Stay the way you are. If anybody asks, I'm just out walking my dog."
Fenna nods.
You catch on quickly. I like that. Good. She takes you to a Lewis station, as it's called. The Lewis is is the tram going north-south in Dublin, and she takes you to the Lewis station and sits down and waits. She tells you it's about 20 minutes until the first Lewis will arrive for the morning, and she takes out a pack of cigarettes, lights one up, and basically just waits there for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then a tram arrives. She hops on, beckons for you to come along as well.
I follow along.
And you're the only people on there this early in the morning, and that far down in Dublin South, you're the only people on it. And it's 3 stops, and then you're at the same Lewis station where you and your uncle got off, and she hops off there and again beckons for you to follow, and you head back to your uncle's apartment. When you get there, the place looks like a war zone, to put it mildly. Most of his furniture has been totaled. There's blood on the walls. There's blood on the ceiling. There's blood in the carpet. He's managed to find a couple of chairs, and he's got the kitchen table moved into the living room, and he's sitting there, and from the looks of it, he's emptied about half a bottle of Jameson's whiskey and 2 packs of cigarettes, and he's shaking from head to toe. But as you walk in, and Katrina closes the door behind you, she says, "All right, close your eyes again, and imagine walking up to your uncle on 2 legs."
Yeah, Fenna does as she's told.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to imagine that. It's difficult to get that, and it gets to be pretty annoying after a while. You can't really capture the feeling of walking on 2 legs. And just as it's getting sufficiently annoying for you to actually growl at it, suddenly you can feel yourself rising back up on your hind legs.
Okay. So, back up on 2 feet.
Yep. And you are still dressed.
Oh. Well, that's a nice surprise.
T-shirt and the shorts are still with you.
Well, I think I rushed to my uncle's side.
Mm-hmm. He gets up when he sees that you're alive and in one piece, and holds out his arms to give you a hug.
Yeah, I just accept the hug and back. Are you okay?
Yeah, but I should be asking you if you are. Oh my goodness, I haven't seen anything quite like that in I don't know how long. That was... Oh my goodness. And oh shit. Siobhan must be looking to tear my head off after this. Katrina looks at him and shrugs and says she wouldn't dare. If she does, she's going to have to answer to me. And your uncle looks at Katrina and nods and says, I should have called you first. But she's more in tune with the septs. She's with them more than you are. Katrina shrugs again and says, yes, you should have called me first. I understand why you didn't, but that doesn't change the fact that you should have. Don't make the same mistake one more time, all right? Could have cost your niece her life. Your uncle nods, and clearly he realizes that he's screwed up in some way or other. He looks at you again and says, I'm guessing you've been told?
That I'm a werewolf? Yes, but...
Yeah.
Fenna looks at him into the eyes. Tell me, is this real?
Yes, it's very real.
It's not a dream.
No, it's definitely not a dream. Your grandfather was a werewolf, and it runs in the family. I don't think your parents have any idea. I think it leapt a couple of generations, or a generation in your case.
This is real. This
is real. Very real.
How does the world not know?
That's a very good question, and it's one that's not going to be very easy to explain in a short time, he says, and looks to Katrina, who smiles and says, let's just say that all the people who saw you running through the streets earlier tonight in your much larger, hairier, and more dangerous war form, she says, that they won't remember in the morning. People blot it out. It's a human thing. We don't have it. We're not human after all.
Sorry, I have to process this whole I'm not a human thing.
Well,
I've been a human my entire life.
Well, you've been partly human your entire life, but strictly speaking, partly human isn't the same as being human. You're also part wolf.
Time for myself. I can't. I just can't.
Fair enough. She says and looks at your uncle. Is her room untouched? Yeah, he says, I managed to set up what little I have left in terms of furniture in there. And Katrina just nods and points towards one of the doors and says, well, if you need a little time to yourself, go ahead.
Fenna Mortensen.
Yeah. There's a bed and a little bit of furniture in general in there. Not much, but a bit. You can hear them talking behind you. They're talking about, clearly, your uncle now needs a new place to live, and he needs it quickly, because what happened here tonight was very bad. And it clearly means that that they refer to them as the leeches, ilerne, are onto him, and consequently he needs to lay low, he needs to find another place to live, and Katrina is going to help him find that. And she's going to stay there until tomorrow evening, and then your uncle and you will come with her, and you can stay over at her place until he's found a different apartment somewhere else in the city. What do you do?
I go to sleep.
You go to sleep.
Hoping to wake up.
Yes.
In the real world in the morning.
Yes. You go to sleep. You have very, very weird dreams. When you do wake up, you are on the floor, curled up with your tail over your nose, lying on top of your pillow.
We completely forgot, or I at least completely forgot about that compulsion. So let's just say that there have been plenty of opportunities to smell Catherine while in Wolf form and on the train and all stuff.
Yeah.
And she did hug her uncle, so that's not an issue either.
Yes. So you wake up, as I said, with your tail covering your nose and lying on top of your pillow and your duvet.
Yeah, so, well, something weird is on my nose.
Yes.
So,
as you open your eyes, everything is black and white.
No.
And you've got that weird nose again.
Nope.
Your uncle opens the door. Oh, you're awake. Yeah, okay. You definitely are awake. Did you sleep well?
Shakes head.
I can sort of tell. Well, you did sleep for a while at least. He says it's almost 10:30, so you did get some sleep at least. That's good. Kat has been making phone calls all morning, so I think we've got another place to live pretty quickly, but you... Good grief, I had hoped it wouldn't happen until you got back to Denmark. Oh well. We're going to have to make the best of it.
How did you know? Does she even speak?
No, she woofs and arfs and so on, and he looks at you sort of apologetically and says, I'm sorry, I don't actually understand. Kat, could you come in here and translate, please? And the woman comes in and looks at you and grins and, yeah, okay, you've had a pretty wild night. So what were you saying? She says and looks down at you.
How did you know about this? Me?
Oh, fair question. She's asking how you knew. And your uncle looks a little uncomfortable at the question and says, "Well, Raven told me, the whole prophecy thing." He says that to Kat. Kat smiles and nods and goes, "Oh, so that's her. My, that's good. That's really good."
What?
Oh, there's a prophecy that speaks of I should have guessed, she said. Well, until further notice, I guess, we do have names for each other, quite apart from our birth names. We do have names for one another, and at least until I say otherwise, other werewolves will know you as Kills Two Leeches. I should have guessed.
Well, Fenna looks down kind of like she's contemplating something, and then, oh, at least it's a badass name.
Yeah, it is. But what you did last night was pretty badass. She looks back at your uncle and says, "You had better start packing. We have the rest of today. I'm going to get Eric to come over and help carry shit. But you and Fenna and I are going to be out of here by sundown. Before sundown, if I can help it, because I don't want the leeches to come looking for us." And your uncle nods and says, "I'll get moving right away. I'll start immediately." He looks back to you and apologizes again for all the hassle and the discomfort and the problems, and he genuinely looks sorry. And then he leaves the room, and Kat looks at you and smiles. Despite her helpfulness and so on, there's a distinctly predatory quality to her smile, and she says, "Your world just got much, much bigger, girl. You have no idea." And then we stop there.
Yay!